Thursday and it is 6 p.m. So you already know what time it is. It's time for the Tatted Beauty Podcast with your favorite Tatted Beauty and host, me, of course, Alasia. Now, I hope you guys have had a great Juneteenth. I've seen all the festivals. I've seen all of the parades. And let me just say, our people, we show out. I'll tell you that. We show out in bad ways, but we show out in good ways too. So shouts out to everyone who celebrated Juneteenth and had a great Juneteenth. Now, before I start, subscribe, like, share, comment. You already know all that good jazz. Episode 10. I'm so thankful to have made it to episode 10. And episode 10, I wanted to make really special. So in saying that, this episode is entitled Surviving the Streets. In saying that, on the line, we actually have mental health advocate and published author, Miss Natalie Currie, which I also had the pleasure of gracing the cover of her first book entitled Locked Door. Again, let's welcome Miss Natalie Currie. How are you?
Hi everyone. Hi Alasia. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Not a lot of people are willing to be transparent, so I just want to thank you and commend you for coming up here today to tell your story and possibly help someone else. I really, really, really appreciate that.
Yes, of course. No problem.
So let's just start off. Just going to give you guys just a light little background. Miss Natalie Currie was born in the city of Patterson, correct?
Yes.
And you later moved to Hackensack. What grade was that?
That was ninth grade.
Okay, ninth grade. So I don't want to go too far into your childhood because I actually want to get into depth about everything you have going on now and about the book and about everything that has been going on after the book. So throughout your grammar school, high school years, again, the podcast is all about traumas and how we overcame them. So what traumas in grammar school and high school did you have to overcome, and how did that help you in your 20s or in college?
During the time I was in high school in the transition from Patterson to Hackensack, it was actually a shock, and I had many students, testing me, and that was mentally draining. Teachers judging me, trying to watch me all the time. So it definitely mentally drained me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to figure out who I was and where to fit in, what crowd to fit in. And so I did, I found a group of girls. And what started the trauma was, going out partying with
Mm-hmm.
this group of girls. And during the time of partying, I started drinking a lot, something that I never, they introduced me to liquor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that was new to me, and I started drinking and, smoking.
Right.
And I remember there was a party that I went to,
Mm-hmm.
and during this party, you doing your thing, you drinking,
Right.
having a good old time. And this was the partying turned into trauma immediately.
And how was that?
Because, during this time, after the party, these group of guys that held, it was their party,
Mm-hmm.
and they decided to drop us off home, but I was more intoxicated than the rest of the girls.
Right.
So I believe they saw that,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually, instead of dropping me off home, they brought me back to the house. And I was confused because they could tell I was falling asleep a bit.
Right.
So I remember being inside and no lights on and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at the time, there wasn't no cell phones or nothing.
Right.
There were cell phones, but I didn't have one. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have access to one. So I couldn't nobody, I couldn't call nobody, couldn't contact, anybody, any of the girls. And I was pleading with these dudes to like take me home, like
Right.
please. But they took advantage of me, and that was the worst night of my life. One of the worst nights, because I have plenty to talk about. And
Right. So after being, sexually assaulted, how did that change social life for you?
my social life, well, during once I graduated high school, I tried college, but I wasn't I wasn't there. I wasn't mentally there. I started lacking on grades, and I didn't care. I wasn't getting no sleep. I would fall asleep in class, and it was just something where I was no longer interested in. So I ended up dropping out of school, out of college, and just trying to figure out again who I was, because during this time I was so lost.
Right.
What those guys took from me was my identity.
Right.
So I was a lost girl at that time.
So was that the only reason that you kind of stumbled, was replaying that night? Or did you have the support system, or did you feel you had that support system to get through what you were going through at the time? Or did you just not want to tell anyone? How were you able to cope with that or talk about it?
Okay, during that time, no, I did not have any support because I did not tell anyone. The only support that I had was alcohol. So I held all those feelings inside of me. Nobody, my family, nobody knew what I was going through. They seen a change in my behavior,
Right,
but
of course.
they didn't understand why.
And what behaviors were those? I mean, of course you said drinking, smoking, but what other behaviors resulted from that?
I was I had low self-esteem at the time, and that was never me. I was always a confident woman.
Right, right.
I was always like on top of like, how I present myself, and I didn't care during that time. Like, I started becoming promiscuous, and I this discriminated against like who I was,
Right.
who I knew I was. I was no longer that person anymore, and everyone that was around me saw it, and some friends that I thought I had, they withdrew away from that because they didn't want to be portrayed or partake in my behavior, have anyone think around me that they behaved the same way that I behaved
Right.
at the time.
Right.
So, I had many people push themselves away from me, but during that time, my family, they were trying to get me into therapy, which
Right.
I did do a little bit of therapy, and it did help for only a certain amount of time, like certain amount of months or so. And, I went back to college for those few months, and again, I fell back. It was
So
like
I don't mean to cut you off, because I also spoke about something that you hinted on, being around people who basically, in a, well, for a better phrase, I would say they couldn't take you at your lowest. It wasn't your lowest, shall we say, but it was like they couldn't take you when you weren't yourself, basically. They became uncomfortable with who you were, instead of asking, and I always tell people you have to show compassion for what people go through, not necessarily, you know, having pity, because it's a difference between having a pity party from somebody and showing compassion or having empathy for their situation. You know what I mean? And I feel like not enough people, well, in our age, back in the day, in school, they're ruthless now, but they were ruthless back then too. So I don't really think a lot of people harbored a lot of compassion, and we weren't taught that.
Yeah.
But just to literally see your friends watch you disintegrate to nothing,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah, and do nothing about it. No, no, there was no questions asked. Okay, I'm not gonna, okay, I had one female friend that did ask, like, what's going on. But like I said, at the time, I didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
And at the time, I didn't care. I'm like, okay, well, if you're not gonna set who I am now, then, you know.
And why should I even tell you, right?
Right.
And
So
and
I
that's
left it
even
alone,
worse. That didn't become more of a problem for you, being that, I know you wanted to talk about it. I know you wanted to tell somebody, but to see people not care, so you didn't care, and it was just like,
yes.
how did that make you feel?
Um, at the time, I was numb. I really didn't feel anything.
Right,
I was just going through life,
right.
just, and then, I met different people, not good people, bad people, and that's who I affiliated myself with.
As we all do. I think that's like a generational thing. I don't think not one generation of humans has not gone through
Not
what you
gone,
just
yeah,
spoke about. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that we all have to go through it at some point in time, but it's like, damn, why now? Like,
why?
or why me? You know what I mean? So did you have those moments where it was just like, why me?
Yeah,
You know?
sometimes, at the time, I would sit back and think, why be like, what's going on?
Right.
But at the same time, I had this, like, it was like the devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other shoulder, and like I was leaning more towards the devil.
And why do
It
we do
was,
that? Like it's like it just feels so good, right?
yeah, it felt, that's what it was. It just felt good.
That's
Anything
man.
that I was doing during that time that is bad, like, and it felt good at the moment. I look back, but guess what? I don't regret what happened.
Right? And I don't think you should. I really don't, because it made you into the person that you are, and it actually built you into the writer that you actually turned yourself into. It like we said, turning trauma into beauty. You turned your trauma into something beautiful by writing a book that spoke to a lot of people. So let's move forward to that. Now moving past the dealing with all of these friends who couldn't accept you because they just didn't want to understand what you were going through at the time, or couldn't read you at the time, or just didn't care. You had family members that weren't very supportive, or you just didn't want to reach out to anybody. So clearly writing was something that held you together, correct?
Yes, yes.
And when did that
Um,
start for you?
yeah, it began as a preteen, 14 years of age. Actually, when my mom passed, I got into
My
the hobby
condolences.
of writing, personal experiences, expressing myself on the passing of my mom, expressing who I am, and sometimes I'll just, write about my day, how did
Right.
it go, by experience of that day, good or bad, and I just developed a love for writing.
That's crazy, because I actually journal, but and I found a couple of my old journals, but like, I don't know, for me it never felt like I wanted to transition over into writing. So how did you know, I want to write, like this is something that I want to do?
Well, during these experiences in my early 20s, with these new that I was dealing with. Uh, that's when I actually started expressing my feelings on paper because at the time I wasn't verbally talking to anyone about what I was going through. So that's when, I started picking up writing again. And I thought to myself, you know, even if me going through during that time, me going through like a dark phase, like I said, I had the devil on one side and an angel on the other side. And what the angel was telling me, oh, jot these experiences down. How you feel in that moment, write it down. If you're drunk in that moment, write it down. If you're sober in that moment, write it down. If you're happy in that moment, write it down. If you're sad in that moment, write it down. And that's how that was another thing how I got through that day. So that's when I developed the love, and I was like, maybe one day I could turn this into a book.
Right, and you did. And you did just that. And I hope that you are speaking to someone or the viewer, one viewer, two viewers, I don't care how many viewers. I hope Natalie is really hitting home for someone, because to hear it from someone else, I know you guys have heard me ramble every episode, but to hear it from someone else and to see that it didn't matter how many times she got knocked down. You were able to create beauty out of it. So now the book comes out, and how did that go? Because I know we've had conversations about the book not being completely your whole entire story, but you given like little bits and pieces of your story behind a fictional story, but still being relevant to the street life, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Once the book dropped, it was like a sense of relief for me.
Right.
I was like, I exhaled and I just put it out there, and I didn't care about what people thought. I mean, I wanted people to enjoy it, of course.
Of course.
But it was more so for me. And of course, it's going to be also about finances. You want to make money. You want to
Right.
invested in. But to be honest, that wasn't like my main goal. I always wanted to write this book. So, and I did that. And I just put it out there. I was like, take it or leave it. And I was just so happy. I also was happy with, I'm not going to lie, I was happy with the feedback I was getting, good or bad.
Right.
So that pushed me even further to, contemplate on writing a part 2.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is a lot of people have been asking me about the part 2, because like I said, I did grace the cover, and I do want to thank you for that opportunity. The book came out 2016, correct? Yes. So I want to thank you for that. But people just inboxing me, when is the part 2? When is it coming out? And when you hit me up not too long ago telling me that you were doing a part 2, it was like, oh my God, that's the universe. You know what I mean? And like I said, writing this first book 2016 and now 2023, that's a big gap. So we're going to get into why you took that long gap. But I also want to ask this question first. Now, your book, Locked Door, the stripping game, you know what I mean? Was that, you said that was a part of your life, but what actually happened in that life that made you want to transition? Because now you're not in it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you transitioned over and you found another way of living, another way of life. So how was that for you in writing the book? Like, what happened during your time of dancing,
Well, during my time of dancing, wow, it was a big shock when I got introduced to it. At the first time, like, I didn't expect it to be like stripping. I literally went and thinking of the idea, like, I'll be fully dressed dancing.
What did they tell you? Like, because I'm trying to figure out, like...
Well, like I
Okay.
this girl, she just said, I was in a funk, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a job at the time, but I was having a hard time finding a job. So this girl that I met, she's like, oh, you want to dance for money? But I don't know, like I said, that was never in my mind, like stripping. Like I never knew about that.
And how old
I wasn't
were
like
you
about that
around this
life. I
time?
was like 23.
23. Okay.
And but when I first went, like I didn't dance. I went to the club with her. She danced, just to introduce me to the scene. And I saw all the money. I was like, you know what?
I'm sure, because I said that to myself. Like, the money looks great,
Yes.
but being in that environment, like, and actually watching dancers, there are a lot of disrespectful men,
Oh.
customers, I've seen it, and how was dealing with the disrespect, because I know certain women who take it.
Like, okay, dealing with that with the customers, I always had a strong head. Like, and I had a gift of gab at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if a customer did get a little disrespectful with me, I had a way of flipping it around, like turning that disrespect into okay, more money.
Right. You know what? You got the right idea.
It was like a manipulation. I twisted it in my favor.
So could you say that dancing turned you into a little bit of a narcissist?
I would definitely say that, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not a narcissist.
No. I'm not saying
During
you
that
are.
time,
Because okay. So let's make this clear, okay? Narcissists can be made. They can be built. You know what I mean? You can that's not just something that everyone has. You know what I mean? Some people naturally are just narcissists. Some people deal with people who create them into them. You know what I mean? It's a transfer of energy, basically, is what I'm saying. So,
yeah, it definitely is because during that time I've gotten told that I was that and very manipulative.
oh,
But at that time, like I wanted what I wanted, and I was gonna do
yeah.
anything to get it. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't care about the next person's feelings. I was there for myself mentally. That's all I cared about was myself. I needed what I needed, and that was
Right.
the money.
And looking back at that now, how do you feel? Like, I know you don't have any regrets, but you just said, you didn't care about anybody. You just wanted to get what you need to get. With sitting with yourself all these years and actually going back and thinking about everything that you did, would you go back and change anything? And if you could change anything, what would that thing be?
Because there was a point in time where it got bad for me. I was involved in a murder, and I actually became a suspect. That's when I was like, okay, what is going on? Like now my world was spinning. Like it literally felt like a movie. I'm like, is this real?
Like, were you in the vehicle or you were just in the area?
Yes, I was in the vehicle.
Oh my God.
So it's basically like a drive by, but God be the glory. I'm
Right.
still here, and I'm here for a reason.
Amen. You guys really don't know what a person goes through until you actually sit down and actually genuinely have a heart-to-heart conversation, I mean. And this podcast is all about having uncomfortable conversations as well. So, with going through that whole murder, like that is crazy. Like I don't think I've ever. I mean, I've been around like a shootout or something like that, but like to be in an actual car with somebody that was shooting out, I don't think I've ever. I've no, I don't think I've ever been that close.
Never in a million years would have thought.
Yeah,
I mean, I seen it on TV.
of course.
Never in a million years I would have thought that would have been a part of my life.
And did that make you want to stop dancing, or did you still dance after that?
And it made me want to stop dancing.
Okay, because I was gonna say now, if you continued now, you really loved money. Seriously, but you have certain girls that will really go back.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just saying, because I know a lot of strippers who have been in multiple life or death situations, and they don't care. They're just like, okay, I'm still gonna go get my money. I'm still gonna go get my bag.
Okay, I did go get my bag, but I
Right.
made sure I stayed in the house while doing it.
Oh, so you did house calls.
Well, what I did recordings.
Smart. So you was the OnlyFans before OnlyFans was OnlyFans.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm not new to this. Like,
That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, it worked out for you. You know what I mean? Like, it worked for you. Like I tell everybody, different strokes for different folks. Like, I don't judge anybody for what they do, but you had to get yourself out of that situation. You know what I mean? And going into the house now you said you went to the house with it. How did that work out? Was it more comfortable because you weren't in front of a lot of people? It just was you and the camera?
I actually liked more being in front of people, but
Wow. Really?
I like eyes on me, but
Oh, okay. Oh, all
I
right.
felt safe. I felt safe in the house.
Got you.
So,
Got you. This episode is like very rewarding for me, like I said, because I have not spoken to you in a long time. And neither one of us knew what each other were going through. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the other part of, what built your beauty today, taking that time off from 2016 to 2023. You were very transparent with me and telling me that you recently, even though you went through what you were going through relationship wise, and how was that for you? Let's go into that relationship. How did your traumas affect you in relationship before we move on to what I was gonna talk about?
well, my first serious relationship, it lasted about 4 years.
Four, okay.
It became abusive. He was abusive towards me. And that was my first love. So, I stayed in it because I thought that's what love was.
Don't we all,
And then
baby?
the cheating began, and I was like, you know what? I just left him. I finally realized like this ain't it, so I moved on.
Right.
And then during this time, 2016, 2023, I was just trying to figure out who I was. And once the book dropped, I was like, okay, I found myself.
Right.
My self-confidence came back, and, I I stood out. I took care of myself, my appearance.
Right.
So I found who I was, but only thing is, guess what? The money, went down. I wasn't getting that fast money anymore.
Right. And how was that? Because I know a lot of people, because it's not just in the stripper game. I know in the drug game, the street life, a lot of drug dealers say the same thing. Because I've seen a lot of drug dealers get jobs. And they do well. But sooner or later, they go right back to the corner because they say the same thing. That fast money is nothing like that fast money. Like that on demand money. You know what I mean?
Nothing like it.
Oh my God. I wish. I swear to God, I wish I could. But I wish.
No, you don't.
No?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying, like you said, when you're in front of it and you watching it, you get what I'm saying? It's like, wow, like
Yeah.
just imagine how much money you know what I mean? If you're just looking on the outside looking in,
The outside.
you know. Whew,
Yeah,
whew.
girls, like, I talk to, they say, oh, you think I can be a dancer? I'm like, no. I mean, mentally wise, no. It's
Right.
not all what, glitz and glam that you think it is. So, I used to talk to girls girls about like who used to ask me, do you think I can do it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't recommend it for anyone. I'm not gonna say yes. I think
Right.
you could do it. No.
Mm-hmm. So you mean to say you didn't find not one genuine person when you were dancing? Everybody used you for what they could get from you?
I no, that's not true.
Okay.
I still to this day, follow a couple dancers. They follow me.
Mm-hmm.
They was very genuine.
Mm-hmm.
They're still we keep in contact. Some of them still dancing or they doing like modeling and stuff
Right,
like
right,
that. So
right.
yeah, it's a handful.
Right. And the crazy thing is you just said everyone's doing something different now. Some of them are still dancing, some of them are transitioned over into modeling. You know what I mean? So it's safe to say that that was a pivotal moment for all of you. It was a transitional moment, a transition for all of you guys. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like it was meant to happen in a sense.
Meant to happen. Their moms, and there's a girl. She's a mom. She's married now. So
Right. See, I love that. I love when people can turn like traumatic stories or stories that people feel like they can never come out of, and it's like life didn't beat you. And going to present day, it was your nephew, correct?
yes.
Now, I okay.
Listen, I've lost plenty of people in my life. I lost my own mother,
Right.
but I was very young. I was 11 years old during that time, so I didn't have as many memories as I had with my nephew.
Right.
Now, he was more like a brother to me. We're literally 2 years apart, and we grew up in the same house.
Oh yeah, y'all definitely sister and brother at this point. Like definitely that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say nephew, people think nephew, nah. He's my brother.
Yeah.
So this this was like a big punch in the gut for me.
I'm sure.
And it's like again, what is
Up.
happening?
I'm gonna let you finish, but that's the sound of for isn't it shady? You already know, but I'm gonna let you finish. Finish your comment or finish your statement rather. I'm so sorry for that, and then we're gonna get into isn't it shady?
It was that that phase again. Oh, why me? That, and then I fell back into the depression. So it's like I had that moment again.
Yeah. And that's why I tell people like it's a never ending healing cycle. You know what I mean? It's like when you think you healed, something else happens. And then you heal from that, and then something else happens. And then you think you healed from that, it's oh man. Yeah, for real. Isn't it shady? Very shady, Natalie. Very. But we're gonna get into isn't it shady right now. Okay? And since we have Miss Natalie Currie on the line. This is very funny, actually. Isn't it shady that although I was the cover girl of the book, people actually thought the story was mine? So I got so many DMs like, "You danced? Oh my God, Lay, you did that? Lay, this your story?" And I'm just like, bro, you don't see the author on the no, no.
You don't see my name.
Like, no.
What do they think? Like, oh my God, do they think I wrote your story?
And this is what I think they thought. And I'm just like,
That's what I think. Yeah.
what?
Oh wow.
Nah, that was very shady. And I don't like that.
That is pretty shady.
Okay?
Everyone, now listen. Okay.
Please explain,
I went.
please.
I ran into this girl on Facebook, and I seen you were modeling in a music video. I remember. And I was running around trying to find a cover girl, and I was a mutual friend of yours, and I watched the video, and I was like, oh, her, I'm gonna find her, and I searched through all, like literally, and I found you, and I just was like, yes, this is her. I saw that you were very talented and what you were doing as a model, you know, an
Thank you.
actress, an influencer, and I was like, yes, I gotta get her, but I was so nervous about hitting you up at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but you don't know until you try. So I hit her up, guys. Like, listen,
And we did that damn thing.
and we did it. Okay.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So the
The
book is not
actual
about her.
the book really right. It wasn't about me. So get that out your mind. Very shady. Very
Very
very shady.
shady.
Very shady. But let's transition back into losing your nephew. How was he taken away? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, it was a single fatal car accident. We're not sure what happened. Uh, you know, he was driving home from school. He was going to a trade school. Um, we don't know what happened. We don't know if he had a heart attack or he fell asleep. But I doubt he fell asleep because during that time, like, he wasn't working. You know, he was at home
Right.
taking care of the kids. He
Right.
wants to invest all his time into school.
Right.
So I don't believe like why he would be tired.
Right.
You know,
And they told you guys it was a heart attack?
no, because you know when they did the um, autopsy, everything came back inconclusive,
Oh.
and that's the hard part.
Mm.
Because it's like, oh my God, we don't have answers.
Right. Not one. Like nobody's gonna answer us. Like nobody has
Right.
any kind of answer.
And you know, then we started getting suspicious, like
Yeah.
so. But it was investigated, and like there was no like marks in the road to suggest, oh, he was speeding or something like that, trying to get away from. So you know, it was very deeply investigated.
Right.
You know, they went back to the school. They asked, you know, how was he? They were like, he was happy, his normal self. You know, cracking jokes and stuff like that. So there was nothing to suggest, oh, he was in any harm or beefing with anybody, or even to suggest that there might be a condition.
Right.
So
Wow. I'm sorry you had to deal with that because I also dealt with that as well. We really don't know what happened to my sister. You know, they said it was a heart attack, but we really don't know because she told us that she was going to the hospital, but she wound up passing away at one of her friend's house. The hospital told us it was a heart attack. So a lot of things are very unsettling with that situation as well. So I definitely can, you know, agree with you on not having closure, you know, on certain things. And I know that plays a very big part or played a very big part in your mental. Just recently, you know, and just trying to get back to yourself. And how has that been for you, you know, in knowing that you have been through all of these things, but this is a different kind of pain. Was it easier for you to deal with that mental, or was it a little harder for you to deal with it because of who it was?
it was harder. It was a lot harder. But the thing that I take with me, you know, I still hear his voice every day. So I hear what he would tell me, let me know, you know, what to do.
Amen.
He was always, like I said, my go-to person, my confidant, the person that knew my secrets. I knew his secrets, so I can literally go on the phone or just talk to him about in person about anything, like, you know. So I took that with me over time when I was in the funk in the first couple months because he passed in February, so I was like out of it.
Yeah,
For
I'm
about
I'm
2
sure.
months. And then I was just thinking what he would say. So I was like, okay. One of the things he would say is like, yo, Nat, what you doing? Like, you know, keep doing you. Keep going. Keep move forward. Don't sink back into that depression. You know, I'm in a better place. Just be positive. You know, he always supported my writing or anything that I had. going on with myself, or I wanted to do with myself, and I just imagine him saying, continue on, don't give up, don't give up. So that's what I did.
And that's what basically pushed you to do part two, correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you know what they say, sometimes horrible things happen for beautiful things to come out of it, and it is very unfortunate that this had to happen to you. Just like, my sister passing is unfortunate for me, but I created this beautiful platform, you know what I mean, to be able to have people like you to shed light on traumatic situations, but to let people know I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still a beautiful soul. I'm still able to love on people unconditionally. I'm still able to receive love. You know what I mean? And I don't think enough people see that, because a lot of people are activating in what they call, what is it?
Surviving.
Yeah, survival mode, or their villain era. So everybody is like so angry and so on defense. It's kind of hard to be soft, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is. And you gotta develop. I started to develop a soft side, and I started to attract good people. Once I developed this soft side, I took my guard down, and I met a guy, and we've been together for almost a year now.
Yes, I love that. I love love. I've been single for almost a year, but I love love. Okay.
This is my first time experience what real love is.
Oh my God.
Real love, like,
And the crazy thing is most people think that their first, like, the person they lose their virginity to is their first true love. And honestly, sometimes that's not even the case. Because we honestly don't know really who our true love is until we understand what unconditional love is,
love is, yes.
and what it takes to love someone, because we're all different.
With him, it took some time, because I was like, whoa, like, you're a good person, you're
Yeah,
a good guy. No, this can't be happening.
it was probably like, get away from me.
Yeah, yeah. And I fought that man so much. Like, I was like, you're fake, you're fake. And he's like, what? He's like constantly trying to prove himself to me. And then
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, Natalie, just, receive the love.
Yeah, just let it happen. I'm so glad you let that happen, because I've been there too, sabotaging love because I'm scared, or because I'm nervous, or because something feels too good to be true.
To be true. Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
That's what it was.
you're gonna fuck up. I know you're gonna fuck up. I know.
You're just waiting for that.
Seriously,
You're like,
seriously.
you know what? I'm going to just get mentally prepared right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and I feel like that's where a lot of our self-sabotage comes from, in friendships and relationships sometimes, because we're just not used to certain things, so it feels uncomfortable to us, so we shy away from it instead of embracing it, or instead of learning how to live with it. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful you had somebody that's able to be patient with you, because that's what you need.
Yes, he's definitely a patient person, and he was with me, he was a major support system in the grieving process of my nephew.
Yes.
He actually lost his job staying with me every single day
Oh,
to
wow.
make sure I was straight.
And I'm sure he doesn't even care about the job. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he was being selfless.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think enough people realize how much volume that speaks. You know what I mean? For somebody to be so selfless in a world that's selfish, and in a world
Yes.
that's all about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, for him to be able to just love on you, and not care about your mood swings, not care about you not getting out the bed if you don't want to. You know what I mean? Everything, just dealing with everything that comes with you and your healing process. I think that's amazing. Like,
Yes.
and when you talk to him, you tell him I said thank you, or if you're watching, thank you, thank you, because it's not enough women out here getting
Yeah.
the love that they deserve. You know?
Like, I thought it would never, happen. I would never. I always envisioned and imagined what it would have been like, but I never thought it would have happened for me.
But that's when it happens. When you least expect it, when you put your guard down, when you just surrender. You know what I mean? And you just like, all right, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? When you're actually patient with yourself is when you actually start getting everything that you've manifested. You know what I mean? And that's I don't want to get emotional, but that's a beautiful thing. I'm so serious. Like, because I hadn't had that at one point, you know? I had people who were in and out, you know, not to say that they weren't there, but it wasn't consistent,
Yeah.
you know, and that can cause a wedge mentally as well. So I'm very thankful that you do have somebody in your life that like that. And in speaking about mental health, you are a mental health advocate. You know, what are some programs or anything that you know of that you can tell anyone watching that is possibly going through anything mental, that doesn't have an outlet, that feels like they don't have anybody? Do you have any suggestions for them at this time?
Yes. Definitely start to speak up more and find a support group. A couple of years ago, I started speaking up more about what I went through, and people that has read the book, and then someone suggested to join the group, in which I was very hesitant about. Then I thought about it, and I was like, maybe this would be good for me, so I can get my mind right and keep going and prepare for my future goals. So I went to the support group, and they're a group of women that they're ambitious, and they want to. They've been through trauma as well. We all shared like similar stories, but we were women that wanted to overcome what we went through.
Amen.
So
And this is a program located in Hackensack?
it's located in Inglewood.
Inglewood. And what is it called again?
Okay, this support group is called the Women's Rights Center.
The Women's Rights Center in
Yes.
Inglewood, New Jersey. Take the information while it's being thrown at you guys. Natalie is sitting here, a walking testimony of everything that she has been talking about, everything that I have been talking about. So it's safe to say, nobody is safe from trauma, and nobody is exempt from trauma. You know what I mean? We all got to go through it.
Yes.
All of us, no matter how old, how young, So you go to these groups. How often do you go?
Right now, it's virtual.
Okay.
And this is every Tuesday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. And those are how long the sessions are?
The session is half an hour.
Okay. Okay. Half an hour. That's not really. I was thinking it would probably be longer than a half an hour, but still, it's still an outlet, nonetheless. So, like she said, if you need to rewind.
Between that 2 to 8,
Uh-huh.
you pick different counselors that you want. Like,
Oh,
say
that's
there's,
dope.
like, one session would be a half an hour, and then you can go to another advocate and speak to them about. It'll be like they have like totally different subjects.
Right.
Topics.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Like, one topic could be about sexual abuse, and that will last a half an hour. Then you
Okay, now I get you.
Yeah.
I get you now. So it's like a conference kind of feel.
Yes, it's a conference.
Got you. Now I can do that. I can definitely do that, because we used to have teen summits out here in Patterson, where we used to have things like that. We used to go to different rooms to learn about different, whether it was law, whether it was something in the music industry, writing music or something like that. So I definitely understand what you mean. And I think that's better than actually sitting for hours, because people's attention spans.
Yeah.
Like, they be like, girl,
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
they set it up like that.
Okay. See, they were smart. So being a mental health advocate, what are some things that you would suggest for anybody in a mental prison?
Like I said, I started speaking more about it. I used to do lives on Instagram with different people that, that suffered from trauma, and they were telling me their stories. So I was more so like, I felt like a therapist at the time, but, it gave me a way to, it was an outlet for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm not the only person, and hearing different stories, it was amazing, and I actually, I'm thinking about getting back into that.
You should.
It
There's a
was,
lot of people who need it.
yeah,
Like
it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope.
it's a lot of people that need it. Like I said, and if we weren't walking, living testimonies, you know what I mean, we wouldn't even be sitting here today telling our stories, or comfortable enough to tell our stories. But we got through it.
It actually made me very, very strong. Realized how much of a fighter I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a very great space in life right now because, like I said, although I lost my nephew, he's here with me.
Yep.
I have him, like, literally, I have pictures of him and I all, like, posted around. Like, it's like a shrine.
Oh,
It's like a shrine. So,
I hear you. Trust me, I got a shrine in my closet of my sister. So trust me, rock out. Okay, whatever you need to do to heal, whatever you need to do to keep being at peace, do that. Okay, so if you need to shrine it out, shrine it out.
yes, and so seeing his face, every day when I walk in, it's like it uplifts my
Yes,
spirits.
I know it does. I know it does.
And,
Definitely.
I sit down and, like, reminisce on that picture, that memory, that day that we took that picture. And, with this all said and done, I kept talking to God. So I began to start reading the Bible a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And that was another way that I coped. And I'm really interested on going back to church. I really suggest, if I can't push religion on
Right,
anyone,
right.
but I really suggest, at least going to a service, at least one service, it'll, like,
Or at
change your
least at
life.
least practicing some kind of spirituality in your home if you're not going to practice it in a church, or you know what I mean,
Right.
a religious home. You should at least practice it in your everyday life, spirituality, you know what I'm saying,
Spirituality.
because
Yes.
not a lot of people agree with religion, or or claim a religion. I've known a lot of people who just don't have a religion. They just believe in what they believe in.
The universe.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like that's still something to believe in. You know what I mean? Just have the right beliefs.
I'm
You
not
know?
gonna lie, I tapped into the whole spiritual. I tapped into a little bit of everything, So that was a way for me to cope, and
Yes.
I'm very much more so happy.
And that's why you have so much
Sad.
peace now, because you literally just sat with yourself and took accountability for everything that happened, everything that's been done, everything that you've done. And just been like, like you said, you're a warrior. You're stronger than how you feel. You don't look like what you've been through. Like you said, your nephew is with you every single day. And literally, he pushed you to create another masterpiece, because you're coming out with part 2. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Like, very proud of yourself. Seriously. I've seen people not make it out of the smallest situations. And they let their mental, you know what I mean, like, take over. So for you to go through all of that from your childhood till just this last February, and for you to be on this phone, I just want to literally applaud you on that. So I'm gonna give you your flowers right now. Seriously, like,
Because being, like I said, I was never very an outspoken person. So sometimes it's hard for me to really want to voice, how I feel.
Right.
I like to write it down on paper, and sometimes, usually I'm shy. So, but I'm glad you gave me, the outlet to
Yes.
voice my
Absolutely. And I hope it touched somebody. I know it did. I'm not even going to say I hope, because I know it did.
I know it did.
I know it did.
Whether they want to admit it or not,
Amen.
they gonna sit with themselves like,
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You don't believe us now, you'll believe us later, baby. Okay? I'm telling you right now. But I just want to say again, thank you for coming up here. I think we got everything. I think we hit everything. Last question. When is the book actually coming out, or do you not have a drop date yet?
okay, I don't have a drop date yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm looking towards early 2024.
Let's go.
Putting everything together as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say to all my ladies, don't take that crown off. Don't take it off for nobody, okay?
You hear me?
We all queens. And, don't try to, fit in with the crowd, with other girls. You are your one individual. You are your one self. Believe in yourself. Who care what the next female think? Oh, she think this. She think that. If they don't like you for whatever, that's their problem.
Okay.
That's their insecurity.
Personal problem, mama.
Right, that's a personal problem. You're comfortable in your skin. You know who you are as a person. Listen, hold that crown on.
Hold that crown. And it's crazy because I literally was about to wrap the show up and I was going to ask you to do the final thought, because I always do a final thought, but you literally just gave them the final thought without me even saying it.
Ladies, don't let nobody take that crown off.
And
That's it.
that's it, and that's all, okay? You guys have been great. Natalie, I appreciate you again for coming up here. You have definitely turned your trauma into beauty. I don't care what anybody say. Don't let nobody take that away from you. Like you said, wear that crown and hold it high, baby, okay? This has been episode 10, Surviving the Streets with Miss Natalie Currie, author, mental health advocate. I have been your favorite Tatted Beauty and host of the evening, Alasia, Tatted Beauty Podcast, baby. Checking out. See you guys next time.